What is up, heathens? What is up, Legion? Rev Avi checking in live for the Magic Quarantine Talk. What's going on? I am here checking in to talk about the occult with all of you. What's up, people? So, let's see. What are we going to talk about tonight? I'm going to give you guys a chance to get here like I always do. We're going to talk about, there was a request in the, thanks, dude. There's a request in the mod chat for a little bit of a discussion on transhumanism. So I think I'll talk a little bit about transhumanism, and perhaps I'll touch on hallucination, because I think I was talking with another person in a group about hallucination too. And so I'm going to touch on that. I'll touch on hallucination, and I'll touch on transhumanism, and we'll get you some understanding of that. So I'm going to give people a chance to get here. Tag people, of course, if you're friends with them. And my bad. But tag people. I was trying to get you to like that. But tag people if you're friends with them. And so we can get them on here and get started.
I don't have the lighter.
And we'll get started. But yeah, here. I had it in my pocket. Sorry. But we'll get started. Tag people so we can get them on here, guys, if you're friends with them. If you're watching this on YouTube, of course, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll jump this thing off. I'm seeing some people on here, so drop a comment. Talk to you guys. What's up, Izzy? What's up? Brand's pissed off. I tossed a cigarette behind Karen and hit her. And she's like,
you hit me in the eye, you fucker.
My bad. I didn't try to. I just tossed it. I didn't even look. But yeah, what's up, Izzy? Cool. So I'll give people a chance to get here, and then we'll get started. We're gonna talk a little bit about transhumanism. Which is like a huge topic in my new book. And then we're going to talk about a little bit about hallucinations. Get you some understanding on that, okay? All right, so I'm going to hang out for a couple minutes and give people a chance to get here. Jeez. All right. Cool. So yeah, I'm just kind of hanging out. It's been crazy. Like, we've been drinking mimosas and just kind of kicking it. I got a special guest hiding behind the camera like always. He never actually gets on camera. He just hides behind it. Get
on camera.
Cool. All right. So let's jump it off, guys. Let's get started. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about transhumanism. We'll start with that, and then we'll jump into the hallucinations, because I feel like the hallucinations is going to be the longer part of the chat. It's rowdy. It's rowdy. That's who's hiding behind the camera. But I feel like the hallucination is going to be the longer part. So let's start with the transhumanism. I'll give a little taste of what that is, a little bit of an understanding of what that is. So transhumanism is the idea of literally the human being transforming into a higher or different state, okay? So the idea of what people consider ascension to be, the awakening to be, is kind of similar to what this idea is, but it's not the same, okay? Transhumanism is specifically involved with the idea of taking technology, okay, and science, and blending it with the human being in total. So the idea is to use technology, okay, be that medical science, be that the magical sciences that we're using, to use science in an effort to blend the human being into a new and advanced form. Now, ideally, the goal with transhumanism is to achieve immortality, and we're talking about literally, okay? So a lot of people don't know about this, but transhumanism is actually so popular that there's literally a political party that represents the idea of it. Okay, so there are scientists involved. There are people that really earnestly are developing technologies to be able to do this. Okay, so the idea of having like a human being that is part AI or part machine or part robot could be a real literal possibility, and that is what the idea of transhumanism is involved with, totally creating a new type of human being, the idea of creating something else, okay? So that's what that's involved with, Okay, and this, like I said, doesn't just include the idea of like machines and computers, but also the idea of the magical sciences, which we study. Okay, and if we start to talk about that in a little bit, it's going to go right into that hallucination and the understanding of the mind. So, with demonism, and I'm looking for an ashtray. There we go. With demonism and the understanding that we're developing with the mind and stuff like that, and a lot of the psychological principles that I'm teaching you guys, with these principles, you're actually able to understand how you can cause physiological changes within the body, okay, by using the mental techniques. So you can actually cause real physiological changes within your body by using these techniques, okay? And the idea is to be able to affect yourself at the cellular level, okay? So we're talking about affecting the cells of your body with the ability of your mind, right? So there's that aspect along with the idea of blending with technology and stuff like that. So could we effectively also change the human being with our thoughts alone, since this is a mental universe that we exist in, right? So this is the process of understanding all of that. And so let's switch over from the transhumanism into the hallucination part of this. So with the hallucinations and tapping into that part of your mind, first let's talk about, and I've talked a little bit about them before, but I kind of just briefly touch on the fact that there are a couple different kinds of hallucinations. So I always say, well, there's positive and negative hallucinations. But let me go a little bit more in depth on what the positive and negative hallucinations actually are. Okay, so and then I'm going to give you a couple different scenarios in which these can actually manifest, because this is a very vast study. It's not just something that's simple to understand. It is very complex. Okay, so when we're talking about hallucinations, this is specifically involved with people experiencing things like ghosts and spirits. Okay, or any type of divine manifestation of some type of being or sort of otherworldly manifestation, right? This is going to be within the realm of hallucination, specifically in my understanding. And I'm going to break that down as to why and how tonight, okay? So hopefully this will make sense to you guys. So with the positive and negative hallucinations, and let's start there. The positive hallucination is when something comes into your reality that's not there to begin with. So you can see the physical world around you, but then you can have something that manifests into your reality. That would be considered a positive hallucination. A negative hallucination is when you have something that's in your reality that you cannot perceive. Okay, so that means something can turn invisible, for instance, and you just cannot see something that's right in front of your face. Okay, that's a negative hallucination. Now, the context in which these things can actually manifest is a vast field of study. So, for instance, with people, if we look at people that are elderly, for instance, and this is a study that's been done by some great scientists. If we look at people that are elderly, for example, right? A person that's elderly, for instance, and maybe blind, okay, and this is specifically the person that was involved in this study, which is why I'm using this as an example. A person that's elderly and maybe blind, and the reason we're using an elderly person is because they would have experienced a whole life full of experiences. So let's say this person lived a whole life, never had a hallucination before, okay, and they're elderly, right? And this person goes blind, and then they start to have hallucinations occur, okay? And in the study, this is what happened to a lady. She had the hallucinations occur, and there is a syndrome that it's called, but honestly, I think it's called Charles syndrome or something like that. But the idea is that hallucinations can occur and manifest in a way where you can watch them like a movie. So this would be something where if you're watching TV, the movie's happening and it's not directly interacting with you in any type of way. Okay, so this is a scene that plays out, something like a beat scene or something that you could see happening, but you're not partaking or part of that hallucination. Okay, that's one way that it can manifest in sort of a visual or vision-like context. The other way a hallucination can manifest is in that context of interacting with you. Okay, now usually when you have a hallucination that interacts with you, a couple things can happen. If you tell someone, specifically like a doctor or something like that, they're going to probably tell you that you have psychosis. This is how you end up getting labeled with mental health issues and stuff like that. So a lot of people don't talk about that, okay, if they have hallucinations that interact with them, because it can make you seem specifically like you have a form of psychosis, right? Because you shouldn't be talking to invisible stuff. Now, you can have a form of this where the two things merge. So, for instance, we can have a hallucination that plays out like a movie, right? But then you can also have a hallucination that interacts with you, or that movie that interacts with you, okay? Or you can interact with it in some type of way, okay? And it sort of crosses over, but you still keep your grounds on what is real and what is actually reality. So when you understand what the hallucination is and what the process is and what you're actually experiencing, then it's not so surprising. You can keep your ground, okay? And this is where grounding comes into play. You keep your ground, and you can still practice these things. You can still engage in these things. You can still have your mind be willing to go that deep to give you those full-on hallucinatory experiences or spiritual experiences, and not get crossed off into the realm of psychosis, okay? And I hope this makes sense for you guys. So I'm going to shut up for a minute, and let me scroll up and see if there's some comments. And I am like shaking my phone. I'm sorry. Let's scroll up and see if there's some comments. And I'll give you guys a chance to drop some questions if you have them. No, just a lot of tags. Man, my eyes are so red today. It's terrible. I've been smoking that good ganja. Cool. That and the mimosas have me like really, I'm really toasted right now. I'm feeling fantastic. Just listening. Okay. No questions. Cool. So I'll keep rolling on to give you guys some more understanding. So the hallucinatory process that we can activate in the mind is activated by a few various things that we know of. Okay. A lot of different things can trigger it. But the most effective ways, are going to be sensory deprivation. Okay. Sensory deprivation usually causes you to have hallucinatory experiences, which is why, okay, and this is a huge fact for you guys out there that are in the occult realms studying this stuff. The reason why ritual in the dark works so well, okay? If you get in complete darkness, that's sensory deprivation. You're blocking your eyesight, right? That's the same as putting on a blindfold or something like that. So that's why if you get in the dark and perform your rituals, they are more effective because they're able to then help you access those areas of the subconscious mind, or activate those areas of the subconscious mind, okay? So there are certain areas within the brain that activate, that control vision. And this has been tested. This is not just a theory that I have. This has been tested. There's different areas within the cerebral cortex that activate to make you have hallucinatory experiences, okay? So for instance, when a sense gets blocked for an individual, let's say they go blind or they go deaf or something like that. When a sense gets blocked for a person, okay, what happens is the brain tends to compensate, okay, and heighten another area of the mind to try to compensate for the thing that's not there, to try to make sense of that area that it can't seem to understand. And this is the reason why the mind creates these hallucinations, these types of experiences, okay? And that's the reason why they happen in so many different types of ways. So this could be a dream. This doesn't have to happen while you're asleep. This can happen while you're awake, okay? This can happen, like I said, during the ritual. You could be doing a thing in broad daylight and have hallucinations occur. This is not something that solely has to happen because you're in the dark or depriving a sense. It's just that's one of the causes of it, okay? Another way that you can trigger these things is trauma, okay? So extreme trauma. You get in an extreme stress, a situation of extreme stress. This can send you into a deep trance state, which will put you into that place where you can, again, have those hallucinations occur, okay? So I hope this is making sense to you guys. So when you're doing these magic rituals and this stuff out there, you understand that what the process is. All these ancient grimoires, all these books that are out there teaching you this stuff, the first thing they tell you is to use candles or something like that, right? The idea is to get in the dark, to do it at night. The witching hour is known as being something that's in the night, in the dark. The reason for that is because that's where the subconscious mind can activate. Okay, it activates in the dark. It activates when other senses start to get shut off. Okay, that's what activates those heightened senses within the imagination. All right. So I'll shut up for a couple more minutes. I've probably been talking for about 20 minutes, and my mouth is starting to get dry. I had a cup of coffee around here somewhere. Can you grab my cup of coffee out there, dude? It's on TV stand. Awesome. I'm gonna snatch him on camera in just a second.
Yes, master.
Yeah. Look, it's Rowdy. All right. I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. But yeah, so that's what causes those things to activate, right? So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. All right, I'll give you a chance to shoot some questions out there because I know there should be some questions. I know there should be some questions about some of that stuff. I mean, hopefully it makes sense. But if it doesn't, please rebuttal and ask your questions if you have them. Okay. So the idea with all of this and, like the activating the hallucinations and the trance states and understanding the mind, there's a lot of symbolism for this stuff, guys. I mean, it really is. And one of them is here, like right there on my, it's hard to see without my computer screen, but like the Eye of Horus. Okay. They talk about the pineal gland, the third eye. This is all talking about that process of the mind being able to awaken to a heightened imaginatory state. This is that hallucinatory state that can activate. Okay, this is what all those things are referring to: the Eye of Horus, the pineal gland, the third eye, the chakras. When they're talking about this stuff, that's what they're talking about. Okay, the Kundalini energy rising and awakening, you being able to see the spirit world. That's what the hell they're talking about. Okay, so this is a process that happens via trance. It's something that you can understand. It is a science. It's not based on any type of superstition or religious belief, unfortunately, and not to attack anyone out there, but that is the truth. And so I'm trying to help people gain an understanding of this stuff. If you haven't seen my work, I've written 3 books thus far. The first one is Semita Diorum. Second one is Mesmerism, The True Powers of the Witch. And the one that I just released this year is Demonism, Phantasmagoria of the Mind. And that book is the complete compendium of left-hand path study and understanding. Okay. So with all of that said, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up a little bit early. I'm not seeing too many questions. What's up, Jason? I see you popping in there, man. But I'm going to wrap it up a little bit early. So hopefully that helps with gaining some understanding about what the transhumanism is on our path, what that can mean. Okay, if you look at this poster here, and I'm just going to aim my camera up a little bit. This is actually from Geiger, and it's from my Geiger tarot deck. This poster here. And it's actually, if you look at this, what Geiger drew, it's so powerful. You start to see the Baphomet blended with some robotic aspects. And people were saying, well, where does the idea of transhumanism and left-hand path come in? And I said, well, there's a lot of great left-hand path artists that display this concept of transhumanism. You see the robotic arms in the Baphomet and a lot of different mechanical aspects blending into this, okay? And a lot of people don't pay attention to that type of stuff within the art, but it is there. And so science has always been accused of being magic at some point. Back in the day, and we're talking olden days, if you practiced any kind of new science or new thing, at one point they would burn you for being a witch. You couldn't do that, right? It wasn't allowed. If you weren't the high priest or somebody that the king trusted and you came with some new type of understanding stuff, man, they would have lynched you, you know, or threw your ass in a fire. So understand what this stuff is and start to try to decipher those hidden messages within all of this. And hopefully it'll start to make some sense, all right? So with that said, guys, much love, and I will see you all in the next one.